Kenny, what's today's topic?
All right. Today's topic is anxiety. Is anxiety real or is it just an excuse?
Is anxiety real or is it just an excuse?
Yeah.
Is there a short, easy answer for this, Kenny?
No, there is not.
I agree. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Good Parent, Bad Parent podcast by Kenneth and Kenneth, where we discuss everything that pertains to parenting and life in general. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Good Parent, Bad Parent podcast by Kenneth and Kenneth. I'm your host, Kenneth.
And I'm your host, Kenneth.
Again, what is today's topic, Kenny?
Today's topic is anxiety real or is it just an excuse?
I personally think that it's a real thing. I think it's a real issue. I've experienced it myself. I think that some people abuse it and make it harder for everyone else that's really experiencing it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I agree. I got to tell you, real quick, my situation with that is, over the years, I always thought it was an excuse. Like I just wasn't familiar with it. And whenever somebody would have a attack or a panic attack,
Right,
I'm one of those ones that used to just be like, just calm down, you just need to
right.
relax. You just need to calm down until I met people and have people close to me who really do have anxiety. And it's a real diagnosed thing. And there are things that trigger that and it's real. I've seen it. So I had to change a heart on that. So yes, anxiety is a real thing.
I agree with that. The only thing is that a lot of people abuse it and they make it hard for the people that are really experiencing it. Like, for example, even dealing with my own children, in some instances, it's like, clean up your room. I can't. I have anxiety. Okay, let's go to the mall and spend some money. I have no anxiety. Okay, take out the trash. I have anxiety. Okay, let's go to the beach and spend my money. I have no anxiety. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm seeing a pattern here. Anytime that it's time for you to do something responsible, then you're having anxiety. So sometimes it made it hard to really figure out whether this is a real thing or not. And it's not just my kids or, other people's kids that when it's time to do something, do your schoolwork. Oh, I can't because I have anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, would you like to drive my new car? Sure, no anxiety. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't pick and choose because in life things are going to be hard and you can't automatically say that you have anxiety for everything that's difficult. Although I do realize that for some people, it's like that. Everything gives
Right.
them anxiety, right? But that's for somebody that's really dealing with it. Some people just say it because they don't feel like dealing with the work and hope that they get some sympathy and won't have to do it.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is what I found out is that it could be like hereditary, you're kind of predispositioned to already have this, and then it just you don't know when it's going to come in your life or it's going to trigger. So I had to do
Right.
some deep diving on that.
Right. And I fully get that because sometimes I have anxiety. It comes and goes, but it goes pretty quickly, And it's funny because it's on things that are not high pressure, right? When it comes to work and taking care of my family and doing all this stuff, sure, I can handle that, no problem. But sometimes little things get me, like, for example, I don't like driving in between 18 wheelers. Like if there's one in front of you, one beside you, one behind you, and you're kind of boxed in, I don't like that. It's like,
So that triggers you. See, I don't have anxiety, so the reason why I had to do research because I had to know what it is. So what does that
mhm.
do when you if you're in between trucks? How does that trigger you?
It makes me nervous because I'm thinking about how so many things can go wrong, right?
Okay.
And if I can find a way around them, I usually, you know, at this current age will not ride on a shoulder. And I would tell anyone that riding on a shoulder is illegal and you should never do that.
Mm.
But if I can get around them somehow by any means necessary, I will, even if that means taking a exit. But typically, truckers are pretty good. They'll move because sometimes they'll switch lanes and they aren't going any faster than the truck that they were trying to pass, and then you're kind of boxed in,
That just sounds like you
But
watch too much Final Destination or something.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that I watch too much Smithsonian and these other channels, that these educational channels that teach you about tire pressure and tires and what happens to truck tires and why there's double tires in the back because just in case one bursts, and it's
Right.
all of these other things. I know too much. Now, if I was a complete idiot and didn't have any knowledge of it, then it wouldn't bother me.
I know people who get like anxiety, like if you go to a party, right, or if you're around a lot of people and people get around you, they'll start panicking if
Right.
they're in an atmosphere with too many people. I know another person who like sounds. If it's like some little sound in the background and it triggers them, their anxiety will kick in.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a whole bunch of different things that can trigger anxiety. I know for a lot of people, it's driving over tall bridges, like
Mm.
not just normal bridges, like extremely tall ones that are, very high up. And, that gives a lot of people anxiety to a point that some people hire people to drive them over the bridge so that they won't have to deal with it.
I try to think all the time of what do I have it, I go, what triggers me to make me feel like a little overwhelmed? And I don't know. I just kind of feel like I try not to worry about things that are not in my control. If it's not in
That
my
is
control,
true.
if it's something that I can't control, then I got to put it somewhere else in my mind. I can't let it trigger me.
Well, what I can tell you is from listening to my children and being able to sit down with them and talk, with time, I did get to kind of understand and learn to have compassion when people are going through things. Not everyone grew up in the same manner, where it's like in the 70s or 80s, you were kind of raised in a traumatic type of way so that by the
Hmm.
time you grew up, nothing bothered you because you have gone through this vigorous training of being traumatized at home. So when you're a grown up adult, nothing else bothers you, nothing phases you, right? But most of us didn't raise our children in that manner. So sometimes taking out the trash might actually traumatize them. They might
Yeah,
actually be telling the actual truth, but unfortunately, it's still something that you have to do and that has to be done. So, in some certain instances, you just have to push yourself and see what you can do.
yeah. I definitely would be interested to know a lot of triggers for other people, right? Like, what are some of their triggers that cause anxiety, and how do they overcome it? Like how do you is it just medicine that you take? Do you just take a pill, or is there some kind of like method of treatment you can give yourself to control that?
I need a pill for these bills. Let me tell you, when I talk about anxiety, getting these bills every month coming in here, I'm like, oh my
I
gosh,
think we all
got to
got
get rid
that.
of it.
Okay, if
Yeah,
that's the case, I got
anxiety,
it too.
right?
Yeah, I got it too. Then, if that's the case, I got it too.
Yeah, I tell you what, can I call the mortgage company and tell them that I have anxiety and that I can't make the payment?
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, while they put your furniture out on the
Yeah.
curb, right? No thanks. I think I got to get over that one. you know.
Right.
Yeah, I went online and I was looking up some information about anxiety. I was asking AI, which I like to use AI.
Hmm.
And this time I'll announce in advance, I'm not joking around. This is exactly what it said. As far as is anxiety a real thing or is it something that people take advantage of?
Okay.
It says anxiety is a real and diagnosable medical condition, not an excuse, though it is sometimes misused as one. Anxiety is a normal emotion, but when it becomes excessive and interferes with daily life, it can be a sign of a serious mental health condition like a generalized anxiety disorder, which affects millions of people and has both physical and mental symptoms. Dismissing it as an excuse can be harmful as it minimizes the struggles of those who experience it and can prevent them from seeking the treatment they need.
That's right.
So that means don't downplay it, right, Kenny? You have to assume that when someone says that they're telling you the truth, right?
Yeah, and I have a little higher sensitivity now because of the way that I felt for so long. If somebody said, "Oh, I have anxiety," and they start, freaking out, I was a little insensitive to it because I didn't understand it. So now that I understand it, I'm a little more sensitive when somebody says they're being triggered or anxiety. I'm like, okay, so what do you need? What do you need me to do to help you calm down? Like, I'm just I'm more heightened now to it.
Yeah, people are more sensitive to it now. For those who were born before 1990, no one gave a dang if you had anxiety.
Right.
Their thing was, I'm going to give you more anxiety. You know, you got some now. Well, I'm going to add on to it.
Like
That's how
you
parents
just need a
raised you.
whooping or something.
Exactly. That's how parents raised you. They gave you so much trauma and anxiety that it made you strong, but it forced you to be strong and just basically turned you into a maniac.
And back to your beginning part, do I think that people can use it as an excuse? Yes. What you were saying, I also agree with that, that some people use that word so lightly every time they feel a little bit annoyed or triggered to say, oh, you're going to make me get anxiety.
Listen, being fully transparent, okay? When I was in high school, if I could have gotten out of a test by saying that I had anxiety, I would have used that. I'm being honest with you. I'm just being completely transparent.
Your
I'm not going to
nickname would
sit
have
here
been
and lie.
anxiety.
Absolutely. I would have used that ticket every time I could to get out of trouble. And this is just me being honest. I'm talking about when I was being a young, stupid kid, but now, as a grown up adult person, I try to be sensitive to everyone's needs and try to be a help, not a hurt.
Right.
So everyone out there listening, if your kids are telling you that they're dealing with anxiety, listen to them, hear them out, do some research, and try to be compassionate because these are different times. Your children are not you. Just because you were traumatized, it doesn't mean that you pass it forward. When someone passes forward something that's stupid, it doesn't make any sense. Well, my parents beat the heck out of me, so I'm going to pass it forward. No, you don't
Right.
do that. You break that generational curse and you make things better and you be more compassionate, right, Kenny?
That's right. That's right. But like I said before, I definitely would like to know some other stories about people's anxiety and what triggers it and how they overcome it. Because just remember, your story could be somebody else's breakthrough. So share with us.
Yeah, if you have some information, what you can do is you can click the link below and it will take you to usingmyvoice.com where there's instructions on how you can share your information on our site, but you have to follow the instructions or we will not be able to use it. So send us some information and share it because this is a community for everyone. This channel, the Good Parent, Bad Parent podcast by Kenneth and Kenneth, this show is for everyone. This is your show, okay? So not everyone wants to start a podcast and go through this whole thing. So why don't you just send us some information, we can air it, and guess what? You might take part in helping someone, right, Kenny?
That's right. Yeah. Good message. Good message.
So like, share, and subscribe. Is there anything else, Kenny, before we close?
Just remember, if you think no one else cares, we care.
We care. Later.
Thank you for watching the Good Parent, Bad Parent podcast by Kenneth and Kenneth. Click the link below for instructions on how to share your story on our show. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.